Artistic Gamer 7, and I'm finally here with Vaporeon's Dream Home interior, so I'm decorating the inside of the build here. I really hope this video isn't moving too fast, but I actually started out with over 10 hours of footage. Some of it was where I had to walk away or I left to go use the bathroom and came back, things like that. So some of it was just me just sitting on the screen, but it was still, by the time I cut that stuff back before speeding it up, it was still like 5-6 hours. So after I cut all of like the random pauses or just leaving the game or something, at one point I actually was having problems with the interior and like the little oh, what are they called, the little vacuum cleaner, the robot vacuum cleaner. Why am I forgetting the name of it right now? I don't know, because I love those things, but I think they're amusing for whatever reason. It was talking about how it couldn't be put outside, and I was like, I'm trying to put you inside. This is not outside. Come to figure out how I did the roofs, there were sections of the roofs that didn't fully cover it, and also there were sections of the roof coming in. I do eventually fix that issue, I believe. I think once I get, because there's going to be, there were some parts that you may see here and there where it looks like the roof is oddly cutting in, but I resituated the roofs and figured things out from how I originally had it to get it to work. So I had to cut some of that out because it was just me really confused on why everything was not working the way as planned. But I did have to eventually still cut a lot of things out because I don't like going too fast. One, when I'm building, sometimes I forget about the rotation and trying to be a little bit slower with it or not as jerky with it. Also, sometimes I don't actually mean to swing it around as fast as I do. If you watch me play The Sims just in my series as well, my regular series, sometimes I do it in those and I'm like, well, sorry. Because I legit don't mean to do it. But I've sped it up not much more than I usually do, but it's still more than I am comfortable with. But I've literally taken out of as much stuff as I felt comfortable with taking out. I took out like all of the, currently they're just guest rooms, the bathrooms except for the master bath, and where at some sections I did like went through the whole entire floor and did the lighting. I cut out some of the balconies because there's not a whole lot going on with some of the balconies. They're more of just sitting, relaxing areas. All these things will be in the screenshots, so it's not like you're going to be totally missing out on them. I think one of the bathrooms I did forget to take a screenshot, but it's one of the bathrooms for downstairs for like a guest room. But if you watched the build video of this, you sort of already know the layout. Basically on the very topmost floor, which is the floor that I started decorating first, which I forgot the master bathroom at first though, so you'll see me actually go down a floor and then come back because I'm like, wait, the master bathroom, I didn't decorate it. But the top floor literally is nothing but basically the master suite is what I would call it, just because it's just the master bathroom, the master bedroom, and a balcony attached to the master bedroom. So it's basically meant to be, in this case, since it is for a sim that I have in my series, which is Vaporeon, it is her bedroom, and whoever she does choose to spend her life with. I do sort of have some plans on which direction I want to take her with and who would possibly live in this house with her, so I did sort of decorate some parts of the house with that in mind, if that person was the one living with her. If like my Sims decide to make some changes, or if you as a viewer start making suggestions and it seems like that is a really good suggestion, or a lot of people seem to lean that way, then I might change some plans, because I do plan a lot of things out ahead of time, but I will change them accordingly to the situation that is happening, that the game is sort of making happening, and also anything that anyone says I will also take into consideration. But for now, as I was decorating this, I was doing it in mind with there possibly being a particular person that she gets with and moves in with her. Knowing a few things, because I've actually recorded a few episodes of the Eevee family by the time I'm finally getting to voice over this, I already can tell you I'm gonna have to make some changes. You'll see what I mean eventually in the future, because this is gonna come out before those episodes, but just know there are some changes that I'm already gonna have to make to this house. Some things that I've realized and some things that have happen, and I'm like, wait, that's not gonna work now. It's little changes though, so it's not gonna be like something that takes forever. But maybe you'll figure out with some of the objects I use, some of the ways that I decorate, maybe you'll start to figure out exactly who may she be living with, plans I have for the house, and things like that. But as far as, and now it's cut down, I think, I may have some places cut up a little strange. Like I said, I forgot to do the master bathroom, and I took a lot of the balconies out, because the balconies to me, even the master suite balcony, wasn't like a whole lot going on. It had like a hot tub, it had painting areas, a yoga area. If you watch my EV series, then you know Vaporeon is a very huge painter, and her daughter Lynn is also getting into painting and things like that. So that did sort of affect this build quite a bit. As for the floor below, which is the second floor technically, there is 2 balconies. Currently, it looks like I'm working on one of them, and then there's another one on the other side of the house as well. So there's 2 balconies, a huge hallway, and the living area sort of has an open ceiling, so the downstairs living area comes up and is open, and there's just like a little balcony walkway to get around to the other rooms. And then there's Lynn's bedroom, and then 2 guest or future kids rooms as well, with 2 bathrooms, well actually 3 bathrooms. There's one attached to each bedroom, and then there's also a laundry room, which I did not include the laundry room either, so that will be in the screenshots though as well, so that you'll get to see those as well. And that is it on the second floor. I think in the video I only show the first balcony and Lynn's room, and that's basically it, because I cut a lot of the other stuff out just to try to save on time. Again, it will be in the screenshots, so don't worry, you will get to see them. And then on the bottom floor, of course, like I was mentioning, there is a big giant living area. So there's the living area, like the living room, that is also easily attached to the outside, which, since this is the main floor, it is attached to the side. There's almost a completely wraparound deck around the whole bottom main floor of the house. It doesn't go towards, once it gets closer towards the pool, that's where the wraparound deck starts to get to a stopping point. So it doesn't go 100% complete around, but it does go around for quite a bit of it. And that I do actually include like a little gate connecting from the front deck or balcony or whatever you want, not a balcony since it's on the main floor, but like the deck. I do actually have it closing off from the back area, just so that sort of someone can't just randomly walk up on your deck and then come through the back area easily, which there's many ways actually connecting this house that if someone really wanted to, they really just have to walk around the grounds quite a bit and they'd find the way into the back side of the house. So either way, that didn't really matter, but I did put that there for that reason. So it's not 100% open. There's a gate dividing it, but yeah. So there's that, there's the whole living outside area, there's like a balcony plus on the grounds, there's the pool, and there's like 2 different sitting areas. One's more for like eating, the other's more for like chatting on the outside, and then both of those sections connect to the inside. One area connects more to the actual living space, and then one connects to the dining space, but then the dining space connects to the living space. It's very connected. There's not archways, because of the fact that I did use archways in some of the rooms that are connected to the outside. Now that Seasons is implemented, I mentioned this when building it, I did try to think about the fact that if this was a real house, cold or hot air would be coming through those archways, and there's some rooms that you'll want to have a door that's actually blockading that cold or hot air to come to places that you're trying to heat or cool down. So, it's not 100% open, but it still has a pretty connected feel. But of course, there's also the kitchen. There's 3 bathrooms, a sauna relaxation room, a game room, and a sort of a little extra study room. I actually didn't 100% know what to do with that room. I do actually cut it out of the build, but I'm pretty sure I have 1 or 2 screenshots of it. But it does have like 2 little computer desks. It has an organ, So it's sort of like just a sort of skills room that's attached to the game room. Because they're meant to sort of be almost like the same room, but since you're going to be on the computer and you might actually be focusing on something, I didn't want like the games being a distraction. So it is divided by a wall, but they are sort of in mind keeping the same like idea of like a room to go do stuff that's not your bedroom, basically. I did learn from this build that I make some builds way too big. As future packs and stuff come out and CC that I come along and find, maybe I'll have an easier time filling those things up. But at the same time, I think for the most part, especially in the rooms where I know what they were being used for, and like the bedrooms with Lynn's room, I did a lot better with Lynn's room than I did with like the guest room. Because you don't know what those it's just going to be guests. They're not going to be staying there for a really long time. They're not going to be having any hobbies that they're wanting to do here, or any of that stuff. So it was easier to try to fill her room up and make her room look like there was reasons why things were done the way or why she had the space she had, while making it all look nice. So it was a lot easier to clutter up her room than the guest room. But anyway, back onto the subject of the layouts of the room. Once you get to where that game room and then divided study area is, there is stairs leading down to the basement. And the only reason, I wasn't originally going to have a basement when I first planned this out. But I did want to necessarily have a game room just because I do know that Vaporeon does probably want more than one child. She probably wants around 3, more likely, of how she is. So, she would have teenagers in her house, and I'm sure they would enjoy games, and they're a pretty big, sizable family. So having places to invite the family over and having things for them to do and places for them to go is important. So I did want to have a game room, but the space that was left wasn't necessarily as big as I would want her art studio to be, because I did want her to have art studio. And since Vaporeon is based off of the Evolution, that is the water version, I started thinking about her having a art studio that was near the pool. And then I was like, I can put it in the basement and have the pool have like windows into the pool, which I thought was a really cool idea. So I mainly made the basement so that I could have her art studio, and I had to make rooms to connect to where the art studio was going to be. So she has a home movie theater downstairs and another guest room that has an attachable bath. Then there's also a separate bathroom down there as well if you're like watching a movie down there. If it's Vaporeon or Lynn down there in the art studio, they don't have to go into the guest bedroom's bathroom. They can go into the bathroom that is separate down there. So, but anyway, with this build, as I'm trying to do with all of my future builds or remodels or whatever, I'm trying to incorporate different things or unique elements or try new things. I think this whole entire house, honestly, was a lot of different things for me. If you watched the actual build of it, that's where a lot of the unique features were, but I did add some sort of unique features as I was doing this section. I'd say the master bathroom and the kitchen is where those more unique features are, where things that I don't normally do in my builds. I did take the whole kitchen idea, though, from the build when I was doing Cassie's dream home, what I did with her kitchen, because it had such a big open space, and I wanted to sort of divide it up a little bit, but at the same time make it look interesting. So I sort of did that little walled area that had glass on it and then a light in it, so it sort of looked like an art piece. So I redid that, but I did it slightly different for this household. And also I thought it would definitely be fitting for someone like Vaporeon to actually have art pieces as decorations in her house. So I definitely thought it fit her house. And also the master bathroom, I did try to divide it up because I made it a little bit bigger, and I sort of did like a half wall thing where it was like the bathtub is sort of the centerpiece, but also divides it away so that it's not totally odd, but it sort of looks like it's meant to be like a relaxation tub in a way. That's how I would think it. Like, you got your candles and all that stuff around you and things. So that would probably be the main things that I really tried different in this section of the build, but I did try to go a little bit more with the decorating. Some of the decorating, again, it's sort of cut out to a little extent just because I literally was trying to get it not to be so long and to still show some of the key elements. A lot of it is going to be shown off with the screenshots at the end of the video, because I also had to keep in mind that I was going to have screenshots, and I think I have like 20 plus screenshots of this build, just because it's so huge. There was no way not to have so many screenshots. But the thing about this build, especially with designing the inside of the home and things like that, that I did quite a bit differently than what I'm used to. One, like, for some of my collabs that I've done, I've not used any CC, but usually once I get to the decorating part, I want to use CC, at least. And I didn't. I actually have no CC in this build whatsoever. I actually removed my CC to do this. And that was honestly probably the hardest thing, because I had certain directions that I was taking this house in. And the reason why I did a no CC form is, one, I really enjoyed this house, and I wanted other people to get a chance to enjoy it as well. And I know if you have CC in your builds, people can download them, but they're less likely to see them. So I know that people possibly wouldn't be able to ever see this build and wouldn't be able to enjoy it. So I did do a no CC version of this house. But as you can tell, I said version. I do go back and I replace I don't like totally destroy everything. I take the base of everything with no CC, and then I just replace things or add CC into where I think that I would prefer it to be. But doing it without the CC at first was so hard, because for her house, I actually had certain plans in mind because of her style and how she would sort of do things. And I had a lot of CC that I had downloaded that I was like, this is going to be perfect for her house. Like, because we're going for, like, beachy, ocean vibes, that sort of thing, water, sea life, that sort of flow. But there really isn't a whole lot of options, honestly, at least in my opinion, that sort of give that vibe. There is stuff that you got with cats and dogs, just because the Brindleton Bay is connected. It has, like, the big ports and all that stuff, so it is very ocean, sea heavy. So, of course, you're going to have some things, but those things look not necessarily like nice, pretty, decorative items. A lot of them look like actual stuff that's been floating in the sea for a while. Like, the nets and the net decorations with, like, the buoys or something. Those different things connected onto it. So, and I didn't think that fit her vibe. I did use them in the non-CC version just because I tried to get as much. I still tried to make it look like her style of house and still give it that vibe without using CC. And like I said, there is another person I sort of was keeping in mind. Also, the fact that you would factor in Lynn, because she is now a teenager, so she would probably have a little bit more say as this house is being built too, because there is a chance that eventually this house may be hers in the future. It may go to another sibling of hers that she may get in the future, but chances are, the higher chances are, it will go to Lynn. We just don't want to think about that day just yet, because that means Vaporeon would have passed, but we're not going to think about that right now. But yeah, she would probably have a little say. So I was factoring 3 different Sims styles in here. Vaporeon's, of course, was the heaviest weigh-in of styles, but two other people's styles were sort of merged in here. One of them, it was really hard to merge with hers, because that particular person, their style is not necessarily opposite of hers, but it is very, very different. It's very, very close to being opposite. While hers is more outside, ocean, lively, lighter colors. The other person that I was one of the other people I was keeping in mind is more darker colors inside type feel. So it is very close to being opposite, but I think it worked out in the end, and I liked how it turned out. I hope you like how it turned out, but the fact that I did do a CC and a non-CC version, the screenshots are going to be a little bit different than usual. I'm actually going to edit 2 screenshots together. I don't know how it's gonna work. I haven't got fully into editing them just yet. So I'm probably gonna have to cut off some of the ways to make them fit on the screen normally. But I wanted to show sort of the difference of CC versus non-CC. Not necessarily to sway you to one or the other. I just wanted to see how different it was, and using, because like I said, I did still, with the non-CC version, I still tried to keep in mind who the sim was, the house was being built for, who all was going to be living in it, how big their says would be, how they would influence the decoration of the house in the different rooms, and things like that. How it could change using CC or non-CC. There are some styles that I think that you can easily portray with no CC, but there are some styles that I think if you don't have CC, it's hard to portray that style, and I feel like Vaporeon's definitely was hard to do. Now, if they eventually come out with a pack that is heavily influenced by oceans and maybe like things like mermaids and all that sort of stuff, probably would become doable. Probably would become a lot easier to have decorated her house. But as the time being, not so much. But I still liked how it came out. Even without the CC, I still think it came out to be a really nice house. I still like how it came. And once I started adding the CC, I wasn't necessarily totally replacing things. I was more of just adding CC versus replacing it. Now, there was certain things that I did actually completely just delete and replace it. Some of the beds and things like that, it did replace with some CC instead of leaving the non-CC version. But overall, I still didn't. There's probably more non-CC stuff in the build than CC once I started adding the CC. I feel like I've been saying CC so much and it sounds weird to say. But anyway, so yeah, but I really liked how the whole house came about, how the whole place looks. There is some different things that I did, different styles I did. There was definitely a lot trying for. Most of my houses, I will say, are more of a darker theme color, so like darker blues, darker reds, blacks, those type of colors, just because me personally, I prefer darker colors. My current room, though it never got 100% decorated the way that I was fully intended, its color scheme was red, black, and purple. And it wasn't like a light purple and red either. It was more of the darker tones, like the more true red and purples. So those more deeper ones. So I do tend to personally decorate my homes more of a darker style, or I stick to the typical creams, whites, and beiges when I do the light colors. So doing some of these light blues mix into the mix and some of those colors definitely was a little bit different for me as well. But this house was also absolutely insanely huge. If I could have gone back in time when I started building this house, I probably would have made it a tad bit smaller. Not so much because I think the build doesn't look good. On the outside and stuff, it looks amazing, I think. But the rooms themselves some of the rooms are bigger than they really need to be. I think with the kitchen and the dining rooms and the living rooms, I made it work. But with the game room and the sort of awkward study that's sort of attached onto it, and the bedrooms, particularly, I think are pretty big. I don't think I would change the master bedroom, just because I think Vaporeon would absolutely love having a big, ginormous master bedroom, and that was something different I tried with dividing, like, a nice sitting, cozy area for the master suite, separated from the bed area. So that was also different, and using the walls, but plus the curtains, so that was a fun little touch that I added. But the other bedrooms, like the kids' bedrooms / guest bedrooms, I probably would make them a little bit smaller, but considering how big the actual build is, it's almost impossible to make them smaller without it looking strange. Unless I added another bedroom. And I don't know, maybe Vaporeon will eventually have more than 3 kids, but technically there's also a bedroom downstairs if we really were dramatic about it and had to. But I also never know when another whole Umbreon and Misdreavus situation is going to pop up, and there's randomly triplets that pop up out of nowhere, so that's also a thing. But maybe if she has more kids, I will shrink the rooms down and make it that way. But while I was building this and my thoughts of where her future possibly was heading, I didn't see the point of adding another bedroom. So that was just how those things ended up. But I hope that you like how this build turns out. Make sure you stay till the end for the screenshots. It actually isn't too much longer to the end because I ended up talking more than I thought I was going to talk. But they will be showing off the CC versus the non-CC screenshots, which I'm super excited. That was the really huge, big, different thing that I've done with this house, where I built the house no CC, and then I brought the CC in after finishing it. And it was stressful, I will say. I don't know. I know on this size scale I will never do it again with a house this size, but I don't think anyone else is going to have a house this size, at least in my main series. But as of for any other houses that I do get remotely like this size, I don't think I'll do it again. As for smaller ones, I possibly will, because it was interesting to try to see how different it comes out and how different it did end up looking to a certain extent. But it was a little stressful. It was because I kept thinking about the actual CC I had, and I was like, this would look so much better here, but I don't. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna add music in for the rest of the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Also, share the video so that others may enjoy it and also get to see the build. The build is up on the gallery. There is actually 3 versions of it, and I think it's up there. Some of them are up there twice, because at one point when they did the gallery update, it looked like all of my stuff disappeared, and I got a little concerned. So I re-uploaded like 3 of my builds just to have them up there, because I wasn't sure if the others were going to pop back up, and then the gallery shut down on me, so I couldn't add more. But luckily everything came back, so they're up there. There is the build version, which has no furniture, no decor, and it has the wallpapers and stuff, but it doesn't have any of that stuff. Though I would highly suggest getting one of the versions that has the decorated version, because I'm pretty sure the one without the furniture is where the roofs are still not done the way they should have been. Basically, you can't put any vacuums, and it counts some of the downstairs as outside, which normally wouldn't have been a problem, but if you have seasons, it will become a problem. It will snow, and leaves will fall inside your house. So I highly suggest getting one of the versions that has furniture. Now, with the versions that have furniture, there is the CC version and the non-CC version. So if you think you might have some of the same CC I used, and you want to try to see what the CC version looks like, you can feel free to download that. But there is also the version with no CC, and you can add CC if you want to, or just use it as is. My origin ID is ArtisticGamer7. I will also have that mentioned down below if you forget. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.